Oops. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Thank you for watching my video on my scholarly article critique. My name is Christian Ham. I'm in comms 3302. And let's get started. So, for the scholar article that I chose from the Texas Tech database was Perceptions of Patients on Doctors and Nurses' Nonverbal Communication in Lahore, Pakistan, a phenomenological study. So, the objective of this study is to identify and determine the frequency and types of nonverbal behaviors of doctors and nurses as perceived by patients and elucidates their effect on healthcare delivery. So, in hospitals all around the world, but in this study, most notably Pakistan, this study is going to identify what nonverbal behaviors you see and how nonverbal communication is interpreted by the patients. Because if you're in the hospital and you're worried about, let's say, your health, and from experience as someone who sees a loved one in the hospital, I look at the doctor, and it's not just the words that I look for, it's the nonverbal. I look for their facial expressions. I look for hand movement, if they're jittery, if it seems like they're bluffing on something, or if they're unsure on something. That's something that patients and loved ones deserve to be able to figure out about certain doctors and nurses. So the study is conducted in outpatient departments of Red Crescent Hospital, Dina Nath and Fatima Memorial Hospital in Lahore, Pakistan, for a period of 2 weeks. So in this study, there were people who went out to go conduct this in these certain hospitals in Pakistan. So the patients and methods were semi-structured interviews of 40 patients, 20 from each hospital, so they split it in half. Coming for their appointments are conducted and analyzed by Heidegger's phenomenological principles. Purposive sampling method is used to recruit the volunteer patients from various socioeconomic in this study. That's a typo in there, I apologize. But yeah, so pretty much in this study, they want to split it up half and half. And the sampling method, they're trying to figure out the patient's socioeconomic background. So this study also gets into the people who can't exactly afford hospital stays or don't have enough insurance. Though these kind of factors are played into this study. So the results of this study, the findings revealed that majority of the patients, 80%, which is 32 of the 40, perceived non-verbal behaviors of the professionals spontaneously. The most frequent behaviors affecting healthcare delivery were facial expressions and the tone of voice. It was found that age, class, and education are factors that affect patients' perceptions. In total, 14 kinds of nonverbal behaviors were perceived by the patients, amounting to 139 repetitions. The researchers have analyzed only those nonverbal cues in the study that were found most frequently. So as we get into the nitty-gritty, the results of this study. 80% found that there were frequent behaviors of expressions and tone of voice. The factors that were outstanding are the age, class, and education affect the patient's perception. So let's say the patient who doesn't have the best education available. Them picking up nonverbal communication from their doctors wasn't good. It wasn't good enough, or they weren't able to exactly figure it out. The tone of voice is big too about delivering something, because you can say something one way but have it sound completely different. Like, sir, you have cancer, or you have cancer, or there's many deliveries the doctors or nurses can give. So the conclusion for this study is that nonverbal communication plays a significant role for the development of interpersonal relationship between doctors, nurses, and patients. And it's not even just patients themselves. It's how the doctor is able to deliver a message to a patient's family or to a patient themselves. You need to 100% tell the truth. You have to have your voice and tone match your facial expressions, your hand movements. Little things in this study, these patients are able to figure it out, especially the ones who come from a higher education. As many messages are transmitted, the health professionals must be trained to understand and gauge their own nonverbal cues towards the patients. So this study also also wants the doctors and nurses to understand their own nonverbal cues. They want the doctors to understand that your delivery, your facial expressions, hand motions, and everything else, even your body language, how you stand, where you're standing, how you deliver your message, that is all important, and that is all a part of this study. And your patients will know. So you need to be able to understand and be trained. That's the most important thing. Everybody can be smart when it comes to being a doctor of medicine, being a doctor or a nurse. You have the knowledge of the human body, diagnosing and taking care of patients. But you need to be able, on a human level, to connect with your patient and to give them the news and the truth that they need. Especially to the families as well, because there are patients who are unconscious, there are patients who are beyond sick or sleeping. You need to be able to deliver news to the worried family. Even if it's good, have a delivery. Have a stoic delivery with a little bit of a smile to let them know everything's going to be okay. But if it's bad news, sometimes the best thing to do is just tell them the news, say, I'm so sorry, stand there, and show your sympathy like you're a part of the family receiving bad news. So in this next slide, I just have my sources listed from where I got the study from the Texas Tech database. And yeah, I mean, this study really made me think about how important it is for doctors and nurses to have relationships with their patients in a nonverbal communication delivery. Thank you for watching.